So hey everyone. Well, it's been a very busy May for me when I recorded this. The last couple of weeks of work have been particularly busy. Busier than usual, mostly because a lot of things have lined up at the same time. So there's just been a lot going on, and I mean it's nothing I can't handle. It's been very draining, a lot more than is typical during an average month cycle because we've got a bunch of stuff going on some it's a matter of timing, some it's a matter of things that are not conventionally part of the routine that are in process and other things. But I'm doing the best I can. I'm hanging in there, and what's doing what I can do. In writing news, I'm not currently writing anything at this particular moment. I've been kind of working on some of my notes and some of my ideas. I mean, so far, I still haven't quite cracked what my plan is for the project I want to start working on, because it's like I have a whole bunch of different disparate scenes that I'm not entirely sure how to link together at this point. I spent last night working on one of the other ideas that I had discarded somewhat. I wiped a lot of the notes clean, but from what I see when I looked at some of them, it's like it's not quite as bad as, well, I mean, I wouldn't even say bad. It's just I'm not sure if it, I mean, it's solid-ish. So I mean, I guess it was just one of those things like, when you look at it in incomplete state and you just kind of wipe it all off the table, and it's like I need to not do that anymore. Just put stuff, kind of like I've been doing with the writing. It's like even if it's not necessarily going to stay, it's just like, starting over from scratch every time there's a problem or something like that is not a good way to do it. So, I'm going to stick with some of the notes I have because, a lot of the ideas that I had were really good, and I think they would really work. But, it's just a matter of, I guess, rearranging them, because when I was first starting some of these ideas, I had tried to keep them all in like in notes in a Word document, and now I'm trying to break them up into the plotting software that I use now, which makes it a lot easier to keep the scenes separate. And I kind of have some things I would like to do with some of the various things. But right now I'm kind of working on the second. Well, last night anyway, I was working on the second post-apocalyptic series that I kind of want to try to do. I'd sort of been hesitant about it a little bit because a lot of it kind of depends on, when I first came up with the idea, my impression of a lot of things was different than it is now. Now I don't know how much, if any, it's going to change the story, but I'm kind of going to, at least for now, look at it as an example of how things could and should be. To some extent, I don't know, we'll see. But I think it's a solid idea. It had a lot of things that I kind of liked, and I'm gonna probably try and see if I can't just smooth out the rough edges from the various points of the idea, because I had a lot of interesting ideas that I think will result in an overall really compelling story. But we'll just have to see how that works out. And I still want to develop a bunch of other ideas. So I think what I'm going to do for right now is just, rather than like I had sometimes in the past, jump around with my notes, I'm just going to kind of take it as it goes and just sort of try and add, keep it easier in my head, because trying to plot different sections of a story and then get it all fit together, I don't think really works that well. So but we'll try. It's like I'm starting at the beginning and moving on from there. And I think really that's probably the only way to do it. I mean, it's fine to have like ideas for where the story's going to go, but it's very tricky to figure out a lot of this stuff until you get there. So um, we'll see. I mean, for right now, that's the plan, just to kind of work on some notes and just sort of try and organize and separate things out and just work on it a little bit at a time until I have something solid. Now, that may be my plan for the entire month. I don't know yet. But I would like to get something started by at the end of June at the latest, but hopefully something earlier than June, something during June itself. But it all kind of depends. It's like I just need at least a little bit of time just to kind of work on some ideas and just sort of let things sit and just see how it all goes, because I kind of get it in my head sometimes that when I'm working on stuff that, it's like there are certain like self-imposed things that I think I have to do. Um, like, I guess it's just I always kind of think that somebody's going to look at it and just be like, that is just not, how you do it or something. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I've also come to realize though that a lot of things that I thought you weren't supposed to do, aren't really a thing as much as I kind of suspected. Like, I don't know. I used to try and write stories a lot like the Star Trek books do, where they have a lot of different places that the narrative needs to be. And when I was working on Winterfall, it's like the first one was entirely from Joe's perspective, which I always had a hard time doing in the past because you have to be your main character pretty much has to physically be anywhere that the action is taking place, and that's kind of tough for me. Um, with Winterfall 2, I was kind of a little bit more flexible because there are some sections that the main character just isn't there, and he just can't be there physically everywhere at once, so there had to be multiple narrators. And 3 was supposed to have a single narrator, but then it kind of ended up having two. And 4 was a split narrative from the beginning with two parallel stories that occur at the same time, but they never actually cross over. So there's effectively two narrators. And 5, I think I just kind of was a little bit more freeform with it, but it worked really well. And I think the reality of what that all teaches me is that each project is going to be different, and each project is going to have different needs and requirements and different specs. So I just need to see what each story is telling me it needs and go from there. And not so much to worry about technicalities as much as possible, just because people will forgive a lot if it's a good story, and also it's I think it becomes less important as long as you do the important base things that every story should do. So we'll see. But in writing news, that's what I'm working on for now. Just a lot of ideas, a lot of notes, and a lot of just kind of working on getting my ideas more solidly in position so that I can just work on them going forward, because that's always been the stumbling block, having all of my ideas in a clear, easy, readable way that made sense to me. And in video news, it's probably going to be a light day today. I'm recording a vlog. Let's see, what else do I have to do? I need to do some editing for Stuck in the Middle with You and Christmas Reunion, so those reviews will be coming on the schedule relatively soon. I don't know when exactly. I know I'm kind of falling behind on where I need to be on the Patreon a little bit, so I might reduce the lead between when videos are on Patreon and when they're released in public. But I don't know. I'm still doing a lot of reviews, but things are kind of a little bit unsteady with the other stuff because I've been trying to figure out how to consistently produce like writing content, and also there is some review projects like the anthologies tend to take a long time because rather than reviewing one single story, it's a lot more because each section I like to kind of review one at a time and release the video as a big sectioned project. So but that's the plan for today. I'm going to begin production on the Complete Red Vixen Adventures video review, and I'm going to try and finish the audio for at least one of the two reviews that I have and get one of those scheduled. And beyond that, we will see, but that'll probably be it. Books I'm reading. I'm still reading When the World Was Young. I finally made it out of the Stone Age into the Bronze Age. Out of the first 6 stories, I really liked 4 of them. 2 of them I didn't connect with that much, which I kind of thought they would have been the ones that I would have connected with, but I don't know, there was just something about the ideas that just didn't click to me. And still reading Patrick Stewart's memoir. I am getting close to the end, though. And the last thing, I'm about 80% done with the Strange New Worlds book, The High Kingdom. I think I'll probably take a break from Star Trek after I finish it and read something else before I start the next one after that, but we will see because I'm looking forward to it. I do really want to read it, but I also want to kind of just, uh, you know, take a Star Trek break. And I don't know, maybe I'll read an older Star Trek book from my collection because I wanted to reread some of these books, but there's just so much. But we'll see. I mean, it could be, I don't know how many people review Star Trek novels these days, probably a lot, but, there's always my personal viewpoint, and there's always a lot of Star Trek books that I really enjoyed that I may or may not be like hugely well known or something. Maybe I can do something about that. We will see. But eventually everything will get read, everything that's in my pile. It's like it's just a matter of time. But at least now I'm getting pretty good about getting reviews done, putting them out, and things of that nature. Speaking of books, I would also like to congratulate Utunu on his win for winning a Kyodel for Rafts, because as you probably know from my review, it's like I really enjoyed Rafts. It was a really well written book, and it absolutely deserves the award. And congratulations again to Tunu for a well deserved achievement. And let's see. Last thing I want to discuss right now, anyway, is conventions. We are talking about the possibility of doing MFM in September, which is like early September, Labor Day weekend, I think. And it's previous years we hadn't really done it for a couple of years just because it was very close to Star Trek Las Vegas. But it's a cheap con. It's a small-ish furry con, which is relatively size controlled, which kind of works for both of us. And I think that it might be our only furry con this year, just because it's already May and we haven't really done any. And I was gonna do TFF, but I just didn't have a book to sell, so there was no point in going anyway, even if I could have. But we'll see. Maybe next year. I should have a book or two by then to have on a table, plus Blue Moon, of course, which I am, planning on eventually doing the sequel. I know it's been forever, but it's one of those things that it's taken me a long time to get my shit together. But that being said, I do have some ideas for it, and I do want to do at least a trilogy because, I seem to be at least starting with a trilogy because it seems to give you a good framework. I don't know how other people do it. Maybe other people just do one at a time or something, but it's like I used to try and build an arc just because if I find a setting I like, it's rare that it'll just be like, this is a one and done. And I know I don't have a huge track record to verify that yet, but trust me, it's kind of like the way I like to go. But the last thing I want to say is, of course, other than MFM being a maybe and a strong possibility, is I'm thinking of I've made arrangements to start going to the Battlestar Galactica convention in Chicago in October. I hadn't really planned on it initially, and it was kind of a little bit of it was a decision I'd pondered for a while, honestly, just because um, I had a feeling I was going to be going by myself, so this will be my first con of this type that I will be going solo. And it'll, I mean, at first I was a little nervous about that, but it's not the first time I've gone to a con by myself. I've been to several furry cons without anybody with me. I don't remember if I had roommates or not, but it's like it's doable. And I mean, I would particularly like to because it's the 20th anniversary of the series, and it'll be a rare opportunity to meet a lot of the actors at the same time. Also, one of the reasons I wanted to go was because I had gotten a picture with an autograph from Rekha Sharma, who is one of my favorite Battlestar actors, and she had been also on Star Trek. And she did appear at Star Trek Las Vegas, but she only appeared the 1 year when Discovery had just released its first season. So she was there, and a few other actors were there that I really, I really wanted to get Rekha Sharma while she was there. And although I still enjoy the picture and I have the autograph still, it's just like it was before I transitioned, and I would like to redo it as Lauren. Um, so I would very much like to go, and that's kind of the plan. So this is sort of like my treat to me, I guess, and we'll see. I'm still hoping that they get the complete cast for Battlestar and that they all turn out to go. But especially Rekha Sharma, she's the one that I really want. But fingers crossed that Katie Sackhoff and let's see, I know there's at least one other that we're still waiting on. James Callis, I think, hasn't yet signed on to go. But other than that, it'll be a good experience. I'm looking forward to it, and I think it'll be a relatively smaller macrocosm than STLV. So we shall see. But in any case, that's about all I have for now. So I will catch you all in 2 weeks.
If you like werewolves, check out my book Blue Moon, available in paperback and ebook on Amazon.
Thanks for watching, and if you liked it, click the subscribe button and leave a comment below. You can also find me on Twitter and a few other places on the web, or support me via Patreon or Ko-fi. Zebra hugs!